Welcome back. Let's move to the next guest for Smart Travel 2020. Martin Barry is the founder and CEO of Manifesto Market, founder and chairman of reSITE. So Martin is the founder of the Manifesto Market, winner of 2020 Traveller's Choice by Tripadvisor, and also founder and chairman of reSITE. His work has been published widely in the New York Times, Forbes, Monocle Magazine, Dezeen, Designboom, among others. He has been awarded in Europe and North America across 3 industries: landscape architecture, retail, real estate development, and event planning. Manifesto Market, the Mastercard Retail Project of the Year, is an internationally recognized food and culture market opened in 2018 in the center of Prague, Czech Republic, with global expansion plans underway. So Manifesto's mission is to provide elevated customer experiences, merging food, real estate, and technology. And Manifesto has attracted over 2.5 million customers to its open-air markets. Martin's non-profit organization, reSITE, by the way, focuses on improving the quality of life in cities, which, with its main activities in experience design, media and events in Europe and the United States. So we welcome Martin Barry to the Smart Travel 2020.
Hi everyone, my name is Martin Barry. I'm coming to you from Manifesto Market in Prague. I'm the founder of reSITE and Manifesto Market. I am a native New Yorker and I'm currently living in the beautiful city of Prague. Let's see, I'm coming to you from a background of smart cities, and we're now an operator of a market which has been persisting through the current crisis. And my first thing to tell you is I'm fascinated with Portugal. I've always been fascinated with Lisbon, and it's one of my life missions to start a project in the beautiful city. So I wish I was there with you. Bom dia, everybody. Thank you for joining me. So let me get into the presentation. We have like 20 minutes to talk to you about what Manifesto Market has done, how we see placemaking, how we see smart cities, and particularly in the context of smart travel, how our market has been positioned and how we've grown it as, I think, a smart operator. So let's get into the presentation, and bear with me. Let's see if I can do this. Let's give you full screen. And there's also one video to share, so we'll switch screens in a couple of slides. And I'm sure everyone's used to this now, but let's just bear with the technology as it's probably a little shaky. Much easier to do this in person. Manifesto Market, the city, the food, and the future. I come at all of our projects from a placemaking perspective. We come at our projects as operators, as technologists, as event organizers, as innovative placemakers. Manifesto, my company, is focused on hospitality. We're transforming urban places, and we're providing what we think are vibrant and safe experiences for our customers. Let me tell you a little bit about that, and I think the easiest way to do it is to click through and show you a video. What you'll see here is the general environment of Manifesto. You won't see a whole lot of details, but you will see the kind of experiences that we're creating and how we like to kind of curate the places that we make. Let's enlarge it and let YouTube load. So there, that's the kind of places that we're making. Let's close this so we don't watch YouTube continuously. What we do, we design, we curate, and we operate tech-enabled spaces to remove barriers and increase margins for restaurants and for ghost kitchens. We're doing that in Prague so far. We've got plans to expand beyond Prague, but our first 2 markets are Manifesto Florence. This opened in June 2018, and we currently have 24 tenants at that market. We also have Manifesto Smíchov, which opened in July 2019 with 8 tenants. And we are working on the 3rd market, which is Manifesto Andiel, opens in spring 2020. This will have 17 tenants. You get a view of what that looks like here. The locations before us are often brownfields, parking lots, undesirable spaces, kind of at the periphery of the center of city. We will continue to look for spaces like this, and we like that because, again, we look at this from a placemaking perspective that have great markets, but necessarily important to understand that we are city makers, and these are just part of the city making kind of mentality that we bring to these places. We're focused on two things in these markets, really: people and taste. We think as a city maker that developers often lack the experience of making places for people and making vibrant environments that are exciting and that also help generate good business. So we try to combine not only the commercial aspects of the marketplace, but particularly focusing on the people and the customer experience there, which, of course, because it's a place with food and culture, is largely driven by the taste of these places. Some quick figures that I can share with you. 2018 in June is when we opened our first market and when the company was founded. We've had nearly 2.5 million guests in about 2 years of operations. 40% of our guests are repeat customers. We've created 280 jobs, both in our company and in companies that operate within the markets. We have over 50,000 social media followers, about 40 million social media reach, 2 locations, plus we have 4 more in progress in the EU, with some other projects outside the EU that we're discovery on. And media-wise, you may or may not have seen, but we've been published about 500 plus times. So we had surprisingly decent traction so far with the company. Why is that? And we continue to try to figure that out. But I think that we're situated in an interesting space. Of course, we're not unique as a marketplace, but we do try to offer a unique hospitality experience and a unique cultural experience, which I think kind of gets you some of the traction that we've seen. In terms of food, we're trying to offer a high quality experience at an affordable price, which I think is really quite fitting to the market in the last few years. In terms of quick service and fast casual restaurants, but also having really great options for a customer to have in one place. But again, like there are lots of markets out there. What we do differently is we provide a layer of technology on top of this to help manage it properly for our tenants, so make it really easy to be a tenant with us. And in terms of the customer and the guests, we're really catering to what people want now, which is an experience. They want sort of cultural environment, not just a food environment. That's what we've kind of brought from our events background. We do a lot of cultural events at Manifesto, including music, films, art events, food events, and that brings a kind of level of kind of engagement that you're not used to at a typical restaurant or maybe a typical market. What do we value in this company? Again, big events background. So we brought like over 200 events in music, movies, dance, arts, gastro. We did some lectures. We had a sustainability festival this year. We've had 2 nominations for architecture and design for our 2 projects. So we've sort of focused a lot on design and the cultural environment. We highly value sustainability, not just in word, but in practice. One example is both of our markets are run by 100% renewable green energy since 2019. We will continue to operate markets on 100% green energy. Our head offices run that way. What this means is that we've saved something like 25 tons of coal last year alone by operating on green energy. So that's a real substantial reduction in carbon footprint. As an outdoor market and what was originally intended to be a kind of pop-up market, it's not really set up like a classic restaurant environment. So what you're used to seeing at sort of pop-ups and festival environments is plastic cups. We eliminated that in 2019, even though it's much more expensive for us and a little bit more difficult. We've saved, just last year alone, we saved 360,000+ disposable cups. This year is more. In 2021, we expect it to be nearly double that. So that's a pretty substantial impact on saving plastic. We're creating nice experiences, we hope. And I think more importantly, from a travel perspective, interestingly, we focused on locals, which was a little bit contrary to the advice that we got being in a city like Prague, which has a high level of tourists, particularly with businesses such as ours that could be really tourist magnets. We decided from the very beginning to focus on tourism second and focus on locals first. By creating a really cool environment, we expected that tourism would follow. And that was in some ways kind of instinctual as placemakers. On the other hand, pragmatic, because it was just cheaper for us to do it that way. We are also looking at this from an innovation perspective as we create our markets. We think cash is dirty, not just for locals, but for tourists as well. And so we've moved into a cashless system where innovation for us is quite important. We're fully cashless and all of our markets will continue to be, meaning you can only pay with digital payments or credit cards. We think that's more transparent. We think it's safer, and we think it's more hygienic. Hospitality this year, as you know, has taken one of the biggest hits because of COVID. So how is it going to heal? Will it heal? I think all of us in tourism, and travel and hospitality, we have to be optimistic, right? We have to see some light. And I think finally we do see some light at the end of the tunnel. But what do people look for after the pandemic? What are people missing now? Well, according to Kantar, public opinion polling, the most popular post-COVID activities are going to be and are already, when lockdowns are easing, are a night out, a drink with friends, going to an outdoor venue. People like me, we miss live music events. We miss travel, of course. We miss seeing family and friends. I particularly missed out a lot living in Europe. I haven't seen my family from New York since last February when this all started, which I usually see about once a quarter. We miss eating out. So Manifesto is sort of well situated for a couple of those things, right? We really want to focus on experience and convenience because we believe that's what our customer and the modern customer wants. 53% of millennials rated a new experience as an important feature when they choose a place to eat. So we see Manifesto as more of an experience than a food place. We think that it's well situated to grow. Of course, it's had a huge contraction this year. As CNBC reports, like up to 60% of places will close, which is an incredibly sad stat. But on the other hand, those that can stay open and that are well positioned for the post-pandemic environments or even for the pandemic environment, eating out will grow. We think 64% in 2021, according to MCA. We see eating out, and I think it's one of the reasons why we're relatively, let's say, well protected in this environment. We see it as an event and experience. First of all, it's outside. That's what we've done. We've created an outdoor market, an outdoor dining experience where people became used to eating outside before the pandemic. And so they're even doing that now. We spend not so much for the food as for the entertainment value of being treated like royalty. That's why people go out. They see it as an event, as an experience, and that's what we've always focused on. Relative to tourism, it is important for us. In fact, our strategy this year was to become smarter at this, let's say, and have more targeted strategies towards tourism. So we're hopeful, but we also are pragmatic and practical that tourism will not get back in shape until 2023. And that's from Czech Tourism, from a report published last week. The first tourists will come by car. That's going to be true in Portugal. It's going to be true in Spain. It's going to be true here in the Czech Republic. And then flying next. So first, of course, business travelers will start to move, like me. I'm already flying next week to Brussels. And then we find that let's say more casual tourists will start arriving. Customers are looking for experience and authentic experiences as top travel trends. That's going to continue to be true. And so what we have always focused on and what we think is one of the strong points of any good place, any good placemaking initiative, is to make it a place that people want locally. Then tourists will love it too. That's been our strategy, and it's been relatively successful. We believe it's really important to stay in touch with the community. So how do we do that? We have a pretty complex marketing strategy. It looks overwhelming, and it sort of is. This flywheel allows us to, let's say, use the content to build community, to keep them engaged, keep them coming, create a word of mouth that then helps all the other aspects of the business. We use PR, print, in-market packaging, point of sale kind of advertisement, all to drive people not only to come back to the market, but also to spend more in the market. We have 46% of our customers, or 48% are repeat customers, meaning we've built a very loyal following, which is quite important for us, that we want to build a place that resonates with our customer. And what this marketing flywheel shows is that what we're trying to do is use the digital and the analog, as importantly, and they work with each other. So all campaigns are coordinated with our sales marketing team, which is one of our biggest teams in-house, to create this kind of impact that creates good word of mouth, which is the most effective form of marketing, and that's driven by digital and offline marketing. We drive engagement. That's 88% of our content is user generated, which means we don't pay for it. It's done by the users themselves, just because they enjoy their experience so much. So one post by Manifesto equals about 6 posts by users. That's been really remarkable for us. We've been surprised by that and also delighted. In terms of destination marketing, we have worked closely with Czech Tourism, which is the city-run tourism agency, Prague City Tourism, and Czech Tourism by the government. We've focused on trying to get kind of alternative places into the tourist map of Prague. Typically, if you visit a city like Lisbon or you visit a city like Prague, the common tourist will know the top kind of 5 places to visit, and they've probably been the same for 2 decades. That's no different in Prague. And so when we were listed by the city tourism agency, Prague City Tourism, as one of the top 5 places to visit in the city, along with the Charles Bridge and the Prague Castle, we were well, surprised, first of all, but delighted that the city had taken a kind of new project, which was only launched a year before we actually created this partnership, and put it on the map for tourists. And what it did is it increased our visitors by almost 15% additional visitors that came from abroad. That was a pretty remarkable initiative, and I think shows that cities are looking for new opportunities like this to include in the tourist map, to kind of, particularly with cities like Prague and Lisbon, to get tourists to come a little bit further from the center, a little bit further from the main tourist path, and places like Manifesto have provided that opportunity. We've bolstered that strategy with publication across multiple platforms, from culture and design and architecture, which is one of our strong points, to food and beverage and hospitality, which frankly has become one of our strong points, but relatively new for us. So that's write-ups in the New York Times, The Guardian, Monocle, Eater, Elle, Forbes, publications across the financial disciplines, business, design, architecture, travel. So these are all organically generated. This is, we've hired not a single agency to attract interest in what Manifesto is doing. So I think it also leads you to the conclusion that Manifesto has created a unique place, and it's something different that tourists and also folks locally want to check out. In the COVID environment, our goal is to become adaptable and frankly survive. That's the number one goal. So look at 2018 and 2019. Now, mind you, this is before COVID. We were already kind of pushing for an outdoor dining experience. So we created, of course, igloos. You've seen them, ubiquitous by now. But we created an outdoor dining experience even in winter. So one of our best months of the year is December in Central Europe, which is quite difficult to achieve. But we did that by creating this kind of unique food, beverage, culture experience. We're even showing outdoor films in December. To this year, which is adapting to the weather, adapting to the situation of COVID. We didn't think these sealed bubbles were actually so hygienic because they're a little bit too enclosed. So we created a theme this year, which is glamping. We have several of these tents around our markets, which allow people to come enjoy some warmer environment, but also have a fresh air environment. We air these things out after every guest comes in, for example. They're stylish, they're heated. I think they create a nice place for people to come enjoy the market while also getting a little bit more comfort. Some of the things we've done is adapting by communication, adapting our cashless operations, making it easier to pay. We've of course created safety measurements like masks, social distancing. We're super strict about sanitation. We have really deep SOP, standard operating procedures, for all scenarios that could happen within this new environment. And of course, being cashless already prior to COVID, I think sort of helped with the perception that this is a contactless place. We want to adapt to customers. We know that delivery was always a big part of our business plan and strategy. We bolstered that this year. We strengthened it, and by providing a bundled offer to the customer, meaning we can put orders together from multiple restaurants in our market, so 15 different restaurants. You can order from every single one of them. We'll put them in a bag, and the delivery provider will bring it to your house. That was huge for us. It's unmatched combination of cuisines. We do our own drink delivery from our bars, which we own. So we have created Manifesto on wheels. So we'll bring the great taste of Manifesto bars right to your house, and relevant experience in relevant time. Relevant extra service. We try to go the extra mile by providing, for example, winter drinks hot. When you deliver it to your door, you'll get it in a bottle from us. It'll still be warm. And we're providing gifts for customers just to kind of cheer them up, get something new in the bag, and try to keep them happy. So cities and accelerating SMEs, that's in our DNA. City making, and now particularly with Manifesto, kind of creating an environment where small businesses can thrive. That's what we really care about now. So why do people come to this place? They come because they want to eat, of course. So of course the customer here has responded to multiple things that they like to do. 75% come for food, almost 50% are coming for drinks. But interestingly, 48% of people are coming to meet friends and for the mood. So they're coming regardless of what's being offered. They're coming because of the place. That kind of gets down to our place making initiative, creating something unique, exciting. And so almost half the customers are coming just for that. We're leveraging data. So we're creating a place where tenants are able to thrive based on, their offer and how we can help them with their offer. So by being cashless, we have insight into lots of details about how the customer is interacting at Manifesto. And when tenants start to underperform, or the customer needs are changing, we can respond to that pretty quickly with our tenants, because we think the tenants are excellent at creating the hospitality environment. We're excellent at understanding the hospitality environment and helping them improve their operations and their sales, based on the weather, based on events that are happening externally and internally. So I think this is a really great aspect of our business to help course correct, which has been really important now in COVID. For the tenant, it's clear, I think, now that it's tough to operate a standalone restaurant. Really inflexible long-term leases, huge investment to move in. So with a place like Manifesto, what we've tried to do is create something which is great for the local business that will then attract locals and tourists alike. It becomes cheaper for the local business to move in, and it becomes cheaper for them to operate because they have less staff, less overhead, lower fixed costs, and they can take advantage of this big reach that we can offer them, both to tourists and also to locals. The company is built to scale. So we are only 2 years old, but we already have 5 new locations in the pipeline, which we're interested in developing in the next 2 to 3 years. 10 more in negotiation across the US and Europe. We're looking at, for all the city makers out there, or city, let's say, politicians and folks working in city government, we're working with cities in Prague and also in other cities to occupy not only abandoned parking lots and brownfields, but let's say buildings, market halls, industrial buildings that need someone to look at them and upgrade them for this kind of cultural food activity. So we have a bunch of negotiations working to scale. And one of them, I should say, in Portugal. So we'll keep you posted on it. And I want to wrap up by just saying thank you so much, obrigado, I miss Portugal. I miss Lisbon. And I'm really happy to be speaking to you. I hope the next time we speak to each other, it will be in person. So I want to wish you cheers, a cup of tea from Manifesto. Merry Manifesto to you. I hope you have a great day. And I look forward to seeing you soon. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to follow up with me via email. I'm sure that the conference organizers can help you get in touch. And I'd love to speak with you about your initiatives on smart travel, tourism, and also smart cities. Thank you so much and have a great weekend. Okay, bye.